A real delight to have Dwayne Stats with me, fellow broadcaster. He does the games for the Rays and a great friend over the years. His book is A Position to Win. Why'd you write it?
Seriously and facetiously,
Yep.
I really did it for my grandkids. I'd like them to have an idea of what their grandfather was doing, and so at some point they can read this and go, that's where that knucklehead has been when he's not around us, and this is what he's been doing.
What'd you put in there? What were you trying to do?
Well, the idea of writing a baseball book I thought was great, and people have talked with me about doing that. I didn't want to write a book about, well, one time a guy came into the booth and we did that. Let's put some baseball in there and where I've been and some of the teams, but I wanted to put the human element in there. This is something, and I'm sure you know this starts very early. It started with me when I was 9 years old, and I tuned into a game. Grew up in St. Louis, tuned into a game from Houston, Texas, to the Colt 45s at night on a little green plastic radio, and I thought that was magic, and that affected my life more than anything else that I know of.
Amazing how that happened to virtually everybody we talked to in our business. It was something like that went on, listening to games and somebody else doing it. I wanted to ask you about somebody you knew well, who loved you dearly, and was a great friend of both of ours, and that was Harry Carey. Just a little bit about your work with him.
Well, what you saw from Harry on air is really what you got. You know, he was a remarkable guy in so many ways. Gene Elston had a great influence on me and helped me a lot. When I went to Chicago and left Houston, to be on that crew with Harry, it was bigger than life, and that's the way Harry spent his life. I will tell you that I am absolutely 101% sure that there were no regrets. When Harry left this planet, he had done everything he wanted to do and had the greatest time. And what can you say that's better about a life well lived?
Yeah. Holy cow, that's what you can say.
That's it. Holy cow.
All right, usually when you write a book, you learn something that you didn't know before you wrote it. Did you learn something writing this book?
Well, I wrote it with Dave Schreiber, who's been in the Tampa Bay area a long time, done some national stuff. And I learned that our writing styles are a lot alike, and I know that you love to read David McCullough, maybe your favorite author. He certainly is mine, and I love the way he advances a narrative, and in no way would I ever compare myself, but I did find myself copying some of the, there's a cadence. There's a cadence the way we do a broadcast. There's a cadence the way people write, and so I found that I really enjoyed getting into that rhythm and doing this book. I love doing a broadcast as you do, sitting down doing a live event. There's nothing better. But I learned that on a literary side, this is something that was a lot of fun for me to do.
That's wonderful. All right, final question. Favorite book of all time? We were talking about this before we started the taping here. What do you think?
Boy, it's going to be tough because McCullough has written every book he writes you want to read, and it's great. I love 1776. It chronicled a year that was so pivotal in why we're here and how we're here. I thought that was wonderful. Probably 1776. John Adams was very good. Panama Canal. I had a chance to read that while we were on that trip going through the Panama Canal, which was great. But I think I'll have to go back to 1776.
All right. Great book. If you haven't read McCullough, that's another one to read. And if you haven't picked up A Position to Win by Dwayne, do so. Dwayne, always great to see you, and thanks so much for doing this.
Always a pleasure.